Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights in Mexico have expanded in recent years. In keeping with worldwide legal trends, the intellectual influence of the French Revolution and the brief French occupation of Mexico resulted in the adoption of the Napoleonic Code, which decriminalized same-sex sexual acts in 1871. Laws against public immorality or indecency, however, have been used to prosecute persons who engage in them. Tolerance of sexual diversity in certain indigenous cultures is widespread, especially among Isthmus Zapotecs and Yucatan Mayas. As the influence of foreign and domestic cultures grows throughout Mexico, attitudes are changing. This is most marked in the largest metropolitan areas, such as Guadalajara, Monterrey, and Tijuana, where education and access to foreigners and foreign news media are greatest. Change is slower in the hinterlands, however, and even in large cities, discomfort with change often leads to backlashes. Since the early 1970s, influenced by the United States gay liberation movement and the 1968 Tlatelolco massacre, a substantial number of LGBT organizations have emerged. Visible and well-attended LGBT marches and pride parades have occurred in Mexico City since 1979, and in Guadalajara since 1996. On 3 June 2015, the Supreme Court of Justice of the nation released a jurisprudential thesis, in which the legal definition of marriage was changed to encompass same-sex couples. Laws restricting marriage to a man and a woman were deemed unconstitutional by the court, and thus, every justice provider in the nation must validate same-sex unions. However, the process is lengthy as couples must request an injunction from a judge, a process that opposite-sex couples do not have to go through. The Supreme Court issued a similar ruling pertaining to same-sex adoptions in September 2016. While these two rulings did not directly strike down Mexico's same-sex marriage and adoption bans, they ordered every single judge in the country to rule in favor of same-sex couples seeking marriage and/or adoption rights. Political and legal gains have been made through the left-wing party of the Democratic Revolution, leftist minor parties such as the Labour Party and Citizens Movement, the centrist Institutional Revolutionary Party, and more recently the left-wing National Regeneration Movement. They include, among others, the 2011 amendment to Article 1 of the Federal Constitution to prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation. Same-sex marriages are performed without any restrictions in Mexico City, Aguascalientes, Baja California Sur, Campeche, Chiapas, Chihuahua, Coahuila, Colima, Jalisco, Hidalgo, Michoacán, Morelos, Nayarit, Nuevo León, Oaxaca, Puebla, Sinaloa, Quintana Roo, San Luis Potosí, Tlaxcala, and Yucatan, as well as in certain municipalities in Guerrero, Querétaro and Zacatecas. Additionally, civil unions are performed in Mexico City and the states of Coahuila, Campeche, Michoacán and Tlaxcala. Acceptance of homosexuality and transgender identities has been documented among various indigenous peoples of Mexico, most notably the Isthmus Zapotecs and Yucatan Mayas. The Isthmus Zapotecs recognize a traditional third gender, known as mux, an intermediate between male and female. Muxas are assigned male at birth, but typically act and behave like women and do both women and men's work. Having a mux in the family is perceived as good luck and a blessing. They are often referred to as transgender in English language publications. Mux, persons who appear to be predominantly male but display certain feminine characteristics, are highly visible in Isthmus Zapotec populations. They fill a third gender role between men and women, taking some of the characteristics of both. Although they are perceived to be different from the general heterosexual male population, they are neither devalued nor discriminated against in their communities. Isthmus Zapotecs have been dominated by Roman Catholic ideology for more than 4 centuries. Mestizos, especially mestizo police, occasionally harass and even persecute mux boys. But Zapotec parents, especially mothers and other women, are quick to defend them and their rights to be themselves. Because, as they put it, God made them that way. I have never heard an isthmus Zapotec suggest that a mux chose to become a mux. The idea of choosing gender or of choosing sexual orientation, the two of which are not distinguished by the isthmus Zapotecs, is as ludicrous as suggesting that one can choose one's skin color. Traditionally, Mayan society was relatively tolerant of homosexuality. There was a strong association between ritual and homosexual activity. Some shamans engaged in homosexual acts with their patients, and priests engaged in ritualized homosexual acts with their gods. Similarly, the Toltecs were also extremely sex-tolerant, with public displays of sex and eroticism, including of homosexual acts. However, little is knots